What's going on, everyone? This is Andrew from Drew Code Sports Talk coming at you for day 21 of our 30 for 30 MLB style. And we only have 2 more divisions left. This is crazy. We're on the home stretch. Today we are going to begin in the NL East. And then we have the NL West in a few days. And then we'll be done, which is absolutely crazy. But to start out in the NL East, we're going to begin with the Miami Marlins. So let's get going. Now, the Miami Marlins, they are not a great team, to say the least. But I thought this was going to be a lot harder to find a player that I think could potentially be their best player. But actually, surprisingly, I only did find one player. So let's, preface it with that. But this is a good player, and it wasn't as difficult to find. I went with Jonathan Villar. Now, he is the second baseman or shortstop, depending on where they want to put him, every day. But Jonathan Villar, if you have not heard of him, he is a victim of being on bad teams. Villar is a good player, but no one ever notices because he's been on these bad teams. He started out his career in Houston, and that was when Houston was tanking. Then he went to the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers were not really that good until last year, and he was traded the year before that to the Baltimore Orioles, and the Baltimore Orioles, obviously we know, is not a great team either. So, and now he's on the Marlins. So it's unfortunate that Jonathan Villar is kind of stuck behind these bad teams. But Villar is a great player nonetheless. He did have career highs last year in a lot of categories with the Baltimore Orioles. Now, he did play 162 games last year. So he played every single game last year, which is incredible. But he had career highs in home runs last year with 24. Career high in RBIs with 73. He had career highs in hits with 175, and he had career run score with 111. So he had quite a bit of production, his numbers last year were very good. He is a guy who, last year he hit 274 batting average, like I said, 24 home runs, 73 RBIs. He had 40 stolen bases. Now, that is one thing that I like about Jonathan Villar, and I'll get to that in a second, but his on-base percentage as well was .339 last year, so that's really good. Especially he's the kind of guy who's going to be your leadoff hitter or your number 2 hitter. Now, Jonathan Villar is not going to consistently get you 20 home runs, and especially we don't know what balls they're going to use this year. If it's the same balls as last year, then he might get 20 home runs. But I think he's more consistently a guy who's going to get 15 home runs, and he's going to be as good as it gets to get 30 steals. So, Jonathan Villar is a good player. He's a great player. I like him with his glove. He's not the most, talented guy with a glove, but he is going to do his job that you need him to. So. But I will say this, I do think that Jonathan Villar is definitely underrated. He is a guy that I would, if you're a Marlins fan or just a baseball fan in general, take a look at him. I mean, if you're a fantasy baseball player and you're kind of looking for, maybe not necessarily a diamond in the rough, but a guy who's going to be consistent and get you some points that you didn't think you were going to get anywhere else, Jonathan Villar is definitely a guy I would definitely look at. So. That's day 21, everyone. Jonathan Villar for the Marlins. Tomorrow will be day 22, and we will continue in the NL East.